It's a common theme in this day and age for Muslims and Muslim apologists to claim that the Bible is horribly corrupted. This is due to the fact that the Bible is in abundant contradiction with the Qur'an. Hence, it is natural for many Muslims to only accept bits and parts of the Bible as actual revelation, but only those parts that agree with the Qur'an or Muhammad's teachings. Some Muslims have such disgust for the Bible that they either completely ignore the Bible in interactions with Christians or in their lives or apologetics in general. Often it is said that only those parts of the Bible which agree with Islam is actual revelation from Allah, while all the other stuff in it is later additions or corruptions. Despite of this, the Quran and even Muhammad himself didn't have enough storage to praise the Torah and the Gospel of the Jews and the Christians. In Surah 10, verse 94, it says that in order for Muhammad to rest ascertain that he is in fact a prophet, he is to ask the Jews and the Christians. In Surah 5, verse 68, Allah commands Christians and Jews to act as according to the Gospel and the Torah, upon which they should have as foundation, and the verse seemed to indicate that Christians and Jews still possess their scriptures in Muhammad's day, which we'll come to. In Surah 5, verse 43, Allah calls the Torah, wherein Allah's judgment lies, as a better judge than Muhammad, and that was the same Torah Jesus is said to have confirmed in Surah 5, verse 46. In Surah 5, verse 44, the Torah is even called a source of guidance and a light, a means by which prophets and rabbis judged. Allah even commands Christians to judge according to the Gospel, otherwise they are transgressive rebels against God, in Surah 5, verse 47. Jews are also asked to believe in the Quran, which confirms the Torah that they already have, in Surah 2, verse 41. This instruction of the Jews is repeated in Surah 4, verse 47, which says that the Quran affirms what is already with the Jews. Now it would be weird for the Quran to affirm something that is lost, but yet it says that it is with Jews in the present day. There's even a case where it is said that Muhammad was met by a flock of Jews, which appealed to his judgment for the case of fornication, since one Jew among them had committed that crime. Muhammad is said to have sat on the cushion and asked for a Torah. When a copy of the Torah was brought, he placed it in the seat of the cushion, and he said, "I believe in you and the one who revealed you." From these Quranic statements and Muhammad's teachings and doings, it is thoroughly un-Islamic and unsupported and alien to Allah and Muhammad and even to early Muslims that the Torah and Gospel would at all be corrupted or useless scriptures. As said, most Muslims do say that the Bible do contain some truths. However, the Quran never says that only parts of the Bible are true and some other parts are false. Some have pointed towards Surah 2, verse 79 as a proof that the Quran teaches that the Bible is corrupted. However, the historical context for this verse in the Quran is that some Jews were distorting the pronunciation of the Torah, which was such an issue that Muhammad recommended not to listen to Jewish Torah recitation for their dishonesty. This does not talk about a universal corruption of the Torah in ancient Israel or somewhere else. If Muslims are right to say that the Quran or Muhammad teaches that the scriptures are corrupt, then Allah is not clever in saying that in Surah 5, verse 68, that the Jews and Christians still have the scriptures, which is their foundation, upon which they stand or fall. Even so, why would the Quran call Christians to a book which is full of corruption in Surah 5, verse 47 then, if the Muslim allegation is true? The Quran does not talk about a primordial phantom Gospel or Torah that was given to Jesus or Moses and since lost. Because in Surah 2, verse 41 and Surah 4, verse 47, Jews more specifically are commanded to obey the Quran, which affirms the Torah which Jews possessed at that time. In a desperate attempt to save the Quran from this is to say that it only confirmed the Torah and the Gospel, which existed as truthful scriptures until after Muhammad's death, but later they were corrupted. This is, however, at odds with what history tells us. The Dead Sea Scrolls, which is dated dated to the 2nd century or the 3rd century BCE, tells us a different story, and also several ancient Greek manuscripts of the New Testament. And a last, utmost desperate attempt to save the Quran is to say that according to scholars, biblical scholars, some interpolations have made its way into, for example, the Gospel of Mark. However, as proved, the Quran does not teach the corruption of the Gospel, so either these interpolations is Allah not keeping His promise, or these were, no matter what scholars say, part of the original Gospel of, for example, Mark. This is fatal to the modern Muslim apologetic claim that the Bible is thoroughly corrupted in all hopelessness, since Allah and Muhammad downvotes such an idea, which was also a position that the early Muslim community did not hold to the scriptures of Jews and Christians. What the problem is with the Quran affirming the Bible is that the Bible is in abundant contradiction with the Quran, especially the Gospel. So the Gospel, being a true revelation from God, means that Allah is either an inherently contradictory being that changes his mind like crazy, or he does not know what he is talking about, in which case Allah is not God, which means the Quran is the product of a human, and the Gospel is thus the true revelation from God, even affirmed by the Quran.